Hi guys, it is 10 o'clock on Monday and we're here for Mortgage Mondays. I'm sitting here with Gavin.
Hi.
And we are talking about Bob.
Bob, our buddy Bob.
Our buddy Bob that we talked about last month. So,
Yep.
Bob, what's Bob been up to?
You know, Bob loves his house, but he's outgrown it.
Okay.
So he is looking to move up, buy a new home.
Wow, that's quick in about a month.
Right? He doesn't mess around.
Yeah, Bob is moving up. So he did leave me a message, so that must have been what he called for.
Yep.
He's going to move up into a bigger home.
Yeah.
So our friend Tim also left me a message. Remember Tim?
Yeah.
Tim's the guy who didn't make good choices.
Not so bright.
So bright. But so Bob, you're saying he wants to move up.
Yeah.
I think what we run into with buyers in this market is moving up. How do you time that? You're in a house. You need to get to another house.
Mm-hmm.
How do you figure all that out?
That's a big challenge, because you've got some equity in one home, and
Yes.
to get it into the next one, you either have to pull out a loan on that or sell it. And I think most people try to sell it to capture that equity and move it into their next home. So that's definitely a big challenge. So I kind of mapped out the different possible scenarios that someone could take. And in this case, Bob contacted Chrissy, a local realtor. He's going to ask her for a comparable market analysis. So he's going to figure out, what's my home worth? What can I sell it for? How much am I going to make when I go to sell this? So he's going to talk to you, and probably the first step he's going to want to do is figure out, how long is it going to take to sell my house?
Okay, and that's something we do. We look at, past sold homes in the last 6 months. How long is it taking to sell?
Yeah.
We'll look at that up.
Yeah. So once you know that number, he can back into, when do I list?
Okay.
When do I start shopping for my next house, and how do we time it all to have a smooth closing, or hopefully a simultaneous closing, where you're selling your one house, purchasing the next on the same day, or as close to each other as possible.
That
so
way Bob isn't homeless for a day or
exactly.
A week or
so he's going to make that plan with his realtor. Tim, on the other hand, he probably started looking online.
Yeah.
Went to Zillow to see what his home is worth. He probably for a minute thought about for sale by owner, selling it himself.
Probably did.
And then he tripped across an open door or an offer pad or something like that, and he got an offer, an instant offer.
Yeah.
Looked great at first, and so he went and moved forward with that.
And I think we have people that are like Tim. They look at that, they're like, offer pad, great, instant offer, instant money. They don't realize, what they're leaving on the table there.
Yeah.
So, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit.
All sorts of fees that are going to be in there. So Bob, on the other hand, so once he's talked to Chrissy and kind of figured out the game plan, his next step would be to talk to a loan officer. And he's going to get pre-qualified, contingent, or based upon the assumption that he sells his house.
Okay.
Has that money to put down, so we're not factoring that house payment in his debt-to-income ratios any longer. And we're going to qualify him for his new house and figure out what his new payment's going to be, all that stuff, so he can plan accordingly.
Yeah.
And so he gets ready to start shopping. So he's fully pre-approved, and he's ready to go.
Okay.
Tim, on the other hand, he probably waited until he found his dream home. He was out there on a Sunday afternoon, found the house, called his realtor or called his loan officer, and his loan officer needed all this documentation and everything, and he missed out on the home.
Dang.
Because he wasn't ready. So don't be like Tim.
Yeah.
Be like Bob. Get
Don't be
ready.
like Tim.
Call your loan officer and get pre-qualified before you find that home of your dreams. Obviously, we can always work fast, but it's better to be prepared and know what you're getting
That's
into.
what I was going to mention too. A pre-qual, like you guys can turn around a pre-qual in a day or two.
Easily, and sometimes in one conversation we can do that, but it just depends. Everyone's situation is different, so we don't want to just wait till the last second when everything's on the line and your dream house is sitting there and you need to submit an offer now.
Yeah, and then you'll miss out.
Yep.
Because offers are going to go in, you're going to miss out on that house.
Yep.
So don't be like Tim.
Be like Bob.
Yep. So what's Bob doing after? So we've come up with his game plan. We have his pre-qual.
Yep.
We have his home. We got it on the market. It's listed. It's on the market. We have an offer. Then what can we do? We have the pre-qual. We have an offer.
Yeah. And part of this would be yours. Is I always tell people in this situation, like try to negotiate that close of escrow. Make it a little bit longer. Like, you're the seller, you kind of control it. If someone wants your home, you can say, hey, we need 60 days. Yeah. They're likely to accept it, even if that's maybe not convenient for the buyer. They love your home, they want it. They're likely to give you those 60 days.
Yeah.
That buys you time to get out there and find your house. Most good lenders can close in 21 days, sometimes less, just depending on how quick we can get an appraisal back. 21 or 60 minus 21, that gives you 4 or 5 weeks to find a house that works for you. So that's
So
what Bob will do.
Yeah, backing up on that timeline again, just thinking about the average escrow is about 30 to 40 to 45 days
Yep.
right now. So looking at, having a buyer on your home, negotiating that close of escrow for 60 days, if it is their dream home, they're going to wait.
Yeah.
Like this is just like, Tim who found his dream home and lost it because somebody else came in. We can have a buyer for your home that's willing to wait that time. Then you
Yeah.
have a contract in hand that shows, hey, I'm going to get this money from this sale. I'm going to put an offer on this home, be able to show that seller, like, hey, I'm worthy
It's
of
already under
purchasing
contract.
this home.
Yep.
Please accept my offer. And, you're set up solid to have, like, a good plan.
Yeah.
So
I would totally agree. So,
so Bob's under contract on
Bob's
his
under
new dream
contract.
home.
Yeah.
And he's there. Meanwhile, Tim, still shopping.
Still shopping. He obviously he can pick his close date, so he can keep looking, but he's leaving lots of money on the table.
Yeah.
So he's going to probably have less money to roll into that next house.
And he's
so.
lost out on one dream home. And so then after that, got his pre-qual, got in. But then he's instant offer on OfferPad. And we hear on average they leave a lot of money on that table.
Mm-hmm.
Because OfferPad, we're picking on OfferPad. There's a lot of them out
Open
there.
door.
There's a lot of iBuyers
There's
out
investors,
there.
exactly.
Yeah, who they come in and they offer you this great cash offer. You pick your close. Usually it's around $20,000 that we're leaving on the table.
Yeah.
And, I just wonder all the time, is it worth it? $20,000. Is that worth not doing your research and not being like Bob?
Exactly. And
So.
man, $20,000 goes a long ways. So like, let's say in Bob's scenario, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
He didn't find his dream house, and he ended up having to close. He got a 60-day close of escrow, but he still
Yeah.
didn't find his home. Man, worst case scenario, Bob goes and he rents a fully furnished Airbnb. He puts all of his stuff, all of his belongings in a storage pod.
Yeah.
I mean, even with those expenses factored in, he could do that for a couple, 4, 5, 6 months and probably still come out ahead over
That's true.
the $20,000 he might have left on the table with OfferPad or Open Door or an iBuyer or whatever it may be. So
those expenses probably less than $10,000
yeah,
for a couple months, and depending on what he's looking for.
yeah, and
So.
I think most people, if you're actively looking for a home, unless you're really, really picky, and maybe
Yeah.
there are some of that, you're gonna find that house. I think there's enough stuff on the market that you would find it. So.
Yeah. So 2 more scenarios. Bob's our guy, but
I think this is the key. Bob, you got to work with a great team. You got to work with someone you trust. I think that it's a very stressful situation. You're selling a huge asset to buy another even bigger asset probably.
Yeah.
That's scary. And there's a lot of steps, and it's a big, long process. So you got to work with a team that you trust that can help you map it out, that can help you understand each and every step so that you can make the right decisions for you, and what level of risk is okay
Yeah.
with you, and what possibilities are okay with you, so that you have the right game plan and the right expectations going into it. So I think working with a great team, loan officer, realtor, title company, all those people working together will help you have a really smooth transaction, hopefully a simultaneous close where you're closing at the same
Completely
time.
agree with that, because this is one of the biggest purchases people are going to make in their lives.
Yep.
So to have people, not computers, not iBuyers, not all those other
Yeah.
scenarios, but having people in your team that know what your situation is,
Yeah.
where you want to end up, what your goals are, and to walk you through every step of the process is key.
Yeah. And maybe have done it a few times so that
A couple times.
you
We've
know
done it a little bit.
exactly, so that you don't have to figure it out with them or figure it out alone. So I mean, that's what Tim did. He went it alone, and in the end, he may have still found the house he wanted.
Yeah.
But he probably left a lot of money on the table, which could have left him either paying mortgage insurance or just having to finance more.
Or that could have been money that he put into his house.
Some furniture,
Yeah.
a pool, some whatever it may be.
Yeah.
He left some money on the table, and for convenience. And there may be a case for a convenience factor
Yeah.
where that makes sense for a person, but I think 9 times out of 10 with the right team, you can go into it and feel comfortable and understand the process enough to do that and net
Yeah.
yourself some extra cash.
Set up for success.
Yep.
Be like Bob.
Be like Bob.
So I'm Chrissy. You can find me on Facebook at thelittlehelperaz.com, and this is Gavin. You
Gavin
can find
Guthrie.
Gavin at
Citywide Home Loans, Gavin Guthrie on Facebook, or Loans by Gavin on Instagram.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next month for more updates on Bob.
Thanks.
Bye.